Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the first kind of episode of FearFlix News, where we talk about crazy news that's going on in the world of horror film. And I had to talk about something that is just mind-blowing to me that recently came out. I think some of you may know at this point that they are in the process of making another Halloween film. At the time, it was kind of, as of a couple of years ago, it was kind of being talked about as a kind of sort of a reboot, but also kind of sort of a sequel, and Danny McBride was going to be co-writing the film, of all people, and supposedly John Carpenter joined on to executive produce and serve as creative consultant for the film, and there was rumors that John Carpenter might actually be doing the score and the music for this new Halloween film. That was all that we knew as of a couple of years ago, but now we got this crazy piece of information that came out a couple days ago. They officially announced it. It's all 100% legit. Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back to reprise her role as Laurie Strode from the original Halloween films, and I just can't believe it. You know, my jaw dropped on the floor when I read this. They posted like this photo of her like on the porch of the house in the clothes that Laurie Strode wore in the original Halloween film, with like Michael waiting in the shadows behind her. So this is absolutely insane to me. I'm not even 100% sure how many years it's been since the original Halloween film. I do know that this will be the 10th Halloween film in the franchise, and I think that's including Rob Zombie's films. I think, anyway. I could be wrong on that, but I'm not going to take the time to count it right now. But this is just mind-boggling to me. I'm not sure why she would reprise her role after all this time, and I know a lot of people have been saying in response to this, they've been saying, what about Halloween Resurrection? They killed her off in Halloween Resurrection. Well, I mentioned this at the time in my Halloween review. One of the first episodes of FearFlix I did was reviewing the original Halloween film. It's my all-time favorite horror film. It's the first horror film that I ever saw. It's what got me into horror films, really. Not a lot of people knew it at the time, or at least I guess not a lot of people know it now, but she initially didn't really want to do Halloween Resurrection. You know, that was in her contract to do Halloween Resurrection. Halloween H2O was originally supposed to be called Halloween The Revenge of Laurie Strode, and, you know, spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen Halloween H2O, at the end of the film, she cuts Michael Myers' fucking head off, and that was supposed to be it. Like, that was the most definitive way that you could possibly kill Michael Myers, to the point where there's literally no plausible way that he could come back from the dead at that point. But, of course, they had another film in the contract, and they kind of forced her to do Halloween Resurrection, but, you know, she kind of said that she would do it as long as they killed her off, and so that's what they did. She was kind of forced into doing Halloween Resurrection, and they came up with this half-assed, ridiculous way for them to get out of the hole that they dug themselves in by cutting his fucking head off. And they made it so that Michael was, like, disguised as a paramedic, and somehow there was one EMT inside the room after he was knocked through the table, and he managed to grab the guy by the throat, break his trachea or something, so the guy couldn't scream conveniently, and then he managed to switch both of his costumes. He managed to put the EMT in his costume, and then Michael dressed up as the EMT so he could walk out of the fucking place with no one suspecting anything. It was just so ridiculous that no one with half a brain bought into it. And Halloween Resurrection, you know, for good reason nobody bought into it, because Halloween Resurrection was garbage. It was terrible. It was arguably the worst in the series, next to Halloween 6. At the end of the day, Halloween H2O was supposed to be the final film. John Carpenter even wrote one of the first drafts of that script for that film, so John Carpenter had a hand in making that film, H2O. It wasn't a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a pretty good way to end the franchise. It was, in my opinion, a satisfying conclusion to everything. And I said it in my initial Halloween review that the real trilogy of Halloween films is Halloween 1, 2, and H2O, because H2O takes place 20 years after the first night. In Halloween 2, the original sequel, it takes place in the same night as Halloween 1. It's all, you know, it's more of a part 1 and a part 2 rather than, a first film and a sequel. It's really just a part 1 and a part 2. And even then, when they made the original Halloween 2 sequel, that was supposed to be the end of that. The end of Halloween 2 was supposed to be the end. It was supposed to be definite. They had no intention of bringing him back, at least John Carpenter didn't. After all this time, I can't believe that Jamie Lee Curtis has agreed to come back and reprise this role to what is supposed to be, supposedly, the final film in the franchise. That is what I've read. I read those exact words, that this is supposed to be the final film in the Halloween franchise. It's supposed to come out October 19th, I believe, of 2018, so that's next year, next Halloween. I don't know how they're going to get it done in that time, considering they're just casting Jamie Lee Curtis now, so I don't know how they're going to get the rest of the cast finalized, and then film the movie, and then get all the post-production done before October of next year. I don't see how that's going to happen. At the same time, I am really excited about it because I've never been able to see a Halloween film in theaters. Yeah, it's just really weird that I just don't understand it. And they're calling it Halloween also. Like, it's just going to be called Halloween. Like, that's really what kind of pisses me off more than anything. I just don't understand why they're doing this, what the purpose is of calling it Halloween. I understand that they're probably going to try and use this as some type of reboot, but or even if they're going to have it be the final film in the franchise, why call it the same goddamn thing as the first film? I don't understand it. We're going to have 3 different movies called Halloween now. 3. We're going to have the original, we're going to have Rob Zombie's shit show, and now we're going to have this one. It just makes no sense to me. Like, I know people are probably sick of, like, the subtitles with, like, Halloween the Curse, and Halloween the Revenge, and Halloween the Return, and Halloween Resurrection. If this is going to be the final film in the franchise, why would you call it the same goddamn thing as the original? I just don't get that. They could end up killing Laurie Strode's character off at the end. Who knows? They could do the exact same thing that they did in Resurrection. Being that obviously she ain't going to reprise the role again after this upcoming film. So, yeah, it just seems really weird to me. I do have a little bit of faith being that John Carpenter's involved, and I really hope that he has a big influence on the final product, because I think he's probably one of the only people that can actually, make a quality Halloween film at this point. He has said that he wants to make it the scariest Halloween of them all, since this is the 10th Halloween film in the franchise. He wants to make this one the scariest of them all. He wants to make Michael Myers creepy again. They want to make an atmospheric horror film, and I'm all for that, because atmospheric, in my opinion, is what real horror is all about. Real horror for me is about getting under your skin, making you feel uncomfortable, giving you goosebumps, that kind of thing. If this film can somehow accomplish that, I'll be golden. They'll be halfway home for me on that. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. How do you feel about Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to the role? I'm really curious as to what other fans think. I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm a little bit worried, considering what's happened to this franchise in recent years. So yeah, like this video, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts, share it, subscribe for more horror movie news to come, and I will see you guys next time.